Philosophy promises to answer the big questions. It doesn't. For centuries, the smartest minds in the world have turned to philosophy to understand meaning, purpose, and how to live. Plato, Aristotle, Kant, Schopenhauer, they all tried. And on the surface, it looks like philosophy works. It builds systems. It uses reason. It sounds authoritative. But Baal HaSulam, the 20th century Kabbalist scholar, looked at this entire tradition and said something that most people never consider. Philosophy doesn't actually answer the question it claims to answer. Now, before we dismiss philosophy entirely, because that's not what Baal HaSulam did, let's understand what he meant. He wasn't saying philosophers were stupid. He was saying they were working with the wrong tool for the job. It's like using a microscope to look at the stars. The microscope is excellent, but it can't show you what you're actually trying to see. Here's the core of the problem. Philosophy operates in the realm of abstract thought. It asks, what is justice? What is the good life? What is truth? And it answers using logic, reason, and debate. But there's a hidden assumption underneath all of this, one that philosophy never examines. It assumes that understanding something intellectually is the same as actually experiencing it or being changed by it. You can read Aristotle on virtue. You can understand it perfectly. You can pass an exam on it. But you can be brilliant on the subject and still be unkind, still be selfish, still be lost. The knowledge doesn't change the person. And that's where Kabbalah starts, not with abstract questions, but with a practical one. How do I actually transform? Baal HaSulam explained that philosophy is designed to satisfy the intellect. That's its purpose, and it does it well. But the intellect is only one part of who we are. There's also the heart, meaning the desires, the will, the actual inclinations that drive our choices. Philosophy speaks to the mind. It doesn't touch the will. Think about love. Philosophy can define love. It can explain its structure, its history, its place in society. But if you're sitting alone at 3 in the morning missing someone, a philosophical definition doesn't heal that. What heals it is a direct experience of connection, of being seen, of mattering to another person. That's the difference. Philosophy describes the territory. Kabbalah is about walking through it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Baal HaSulam didn't say philosophy is worthless. He said it's incomplete. Philosophy can be a preparation. It can create questions. It can clear away false answers. But it can't do the actual work of transformation. For that, you need a different method entirely. Kabbalah, according to Baal HaSulam, is a science of the soul, not a philosophy of the soul, a science, and that distinction matters. A science describes how something actually works, not just what we can think about it. It's empirical. It's based on observation and practice. It's designed to be tested not in a laboratory with instruments, but in the laboratory of your own being. The method of Kabbalah is structural. It identifies a specific problem that we're built entirely around self-interest, what Kabbalah calls the ego or the desire to receive only for oneself. Then it offers a specific practice, learning to desire to give, to connect, to love your neighbor as yourself, not as a moral ideal to contemplate, as an actual shift in the structure of your consciousness. Philosophy asks, what is love? Kabbalah asks, how do I become a person capable of love? That's the flip. It's not about accumulating knowledge. It's about changing the structure of your desires. And Baal HaSulam taught that this change doesn't happen through argument or logic. It happens through a specific study of Kabbalistic texts combined with intention, the intention to actually transform. This is why you can be a brilliant philosopher and still live a small, fearful, lonely life, and why someone with no formal education can study Kabbalah and experience a genuine opening of the heart. The tool matches the goal. Philosophy refines thinking. Kabbalah refines being. Baal HaSulam also pointed out something else that philosophy misses: the upper world, not as fantasy or metaphor, but as a real dimension of consciousness that becomes accessible once you begin to shift from receiving only to giving. Philosophy operates entirely within the framework of individual human reason, But Kabbalah describes a state of consciousness where you connect to something beyond your own mind, a unified field of intention and meaning. That's not something philosophy can even discuss coherently, because philosophy is bound to the rules of individual logic. It's like asking a two-dimensional being to explain three-dimensional space. The language breaks down, but in Kabbalah, this expanded consciousness isn't theoretical, it's described as the natural result of the practice. So what does this mean practically? It means if you're seeking genuine change, not just understanding, but actual transformation of how you relate to others, how you experience meaning, how you feel connected to something larger than yourself, a philosophy alone won't get you there. You need a method that works on the level of desire and intention, not just intellect. This doesn't mean you abandon thinking. Baal HaSulam valued clear thought, but thought becomes a servant of the work, not the work itself. You study the Kabbalistic sources not to build a beautiful intellectual structure, but to awaken something in yourself that's been dormant. The capacity to feel as one with others, to genuinely love beyond your own interest. The real wisdom isn't in having the right answers. It's in becoming the kind of person for whom those answers are no longer abstract. When you've actually experienced connection, you don't need to philosophize about love. When you've felt the unity beneath all separation, you don't need to debate whether meaning exists. The knowledge becomes living. That's the wisdom of Kabbalah that Baal HaSulam spent his life preserving and explaining, not as a belief system to accept, but as a science of becoming, a method you can test yourself in your own life, starting right now. Subscribe. Each week we explore another authentic teaching that shows you how to actually live this wisdom, not just think about it.